Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be joining in or listening. Come on in, come one, come all. This is the F word, follow up trends in real estate. I'm your host, Sara Delansig, and my co host here is Heather Murcin. And today we have a topic that actually was one of my best performing videos on YouTube that I did a while ago, um, which is having fun while you follow up. The first time I did this, I called it Make Follow Up Fun Again. And I was like, that's a little too, like, I don't want to associate, I don't want anybody to think that I'm associating with anything or not associating with anything. Like, let's just keep this neutral. So we're not going to call it Make Follow Up Fun again, but we are going to talk about how to have some fun while we make calls. And this will be a little bit directed at a team, but also at solo agents. So I'm going to have some sprinkled in there for solo agents. And yeah, and I am going to pull up my notes and then we will get into it. But in the meantime, while I'm looking for, oops, I just opened the wrong thing. While I'm looking for this, um, I wanted to bring up a book that I just started listening to because I like put all my book recommendations into Chat GPT and said, hey, these are books that I really love. And this is where I'm at, like spiritually, because a lot of them, well, I'll explain this. So like Blue Like Jazz is one of my favorite books ever, but it's Christian. Um and my views on certain things have changed recently. Not that I'm, not a Christian, but like my views have changed. So I didn't want like something super Christian. And so I was like explaining to ChatGPT that, and it came up with this book that I absolutely love, which is called The Four Agreements. And I think it's pretty old. I think I've heard of this before. Um, but yeah, I just thought that was, I listened, it's not very long, but I thoroughly enjoyed this book. So there is that if y'all want to check it out. Okay. And of course, I can't find the slides that I had this for. So we might have to do this off the cuff, which is fine because a lot of what I do is not scripted anyways. But let's see if I can find because I did have it all. There it is. Okay, cool. Here we go. I've got something. All right. Well, first I want to throw this over to Heather, and I want to ask you, Heather, how do you make your calls a little more fun when you gotta do them? Because we do it every day.
Yeah. I would say the first thing is like making bets with myself.
Ooh,
So I will be like, I'll literally write it down. Like, I bet in the next 10 calls, I'll set an appointment, or I'll bet in the next whatever. And then we have like an internal Google chat that we all keep our rankings in. And then at the end of the day,
yes,
we'll do prizes or whatever. So it's like you make a game of it. And my husband and I have always had this joke ever since we started dating. He said, anytime I didn't want to do anything wrong or anything like not fun, like chores or whatever, he's like, it'll be fine. It'll be fun. You can just make a game of it. And for
yes,
whatever reason, that stuck with me, and I say it all the time now. It's so funny, and I
it's
tell my kids
true.
too.
Go ahead.
I would say I tell my kids too. Like anytime I'm like, Kenzie, go clean your room, and she'll be like, and I'm like, it'll be fun. You can just make a game of it.
And yeah, I'm surprised you don't actually have to create a game out of it for the kids because I remember reading like a parenting book that said, yeah, you could be like, who can do this faster? Like cleaning up toys and that sort of thing. And yes, kids
Mm-hmm.
love to win, and it's true. That is a really good point. Making bets with yourself is actually one of the things that I have on my list. But first, I want to talk about what holds people back. What holds people back from making calls a lot of times can be the reason why they're not having any fun with it. So I've got some people in here. Does anybody want to raise their hand and share one thing that holds them back from following up with their leads, even their leads they paid to get, or their sphere of influence, or anything like that? Does anybody have the courage to say something or put it in the chat, maybe?
I think for me, all the feedback that I've ever received, like when I'm doing overview calls and people are talking about hiring us, the thing that they're like, I'm scared I'm gonna say the wrong thing.
Yep,
Like you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person, and you can't say the right thing to the wrong person.
very
Literally, it
true.
doesn't matter. So
It's
if
very
they want
true.
your help, it's just know that you're there to help them.
That is true. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen for this, and we'll go over some of these. This was back when I was way more organized and I actually did presentations for stuff. So we're going to kind of go through these. So one of the things that I hear the most is the fear of rejection. I don't want them to tell me no, or I don't want them to yell at me or something like that. So a lot of times it's fear of rejection. Negative feedback is another one. You know, I had somebody tell me, I hate your voice. Your
What?
voice is, yeah, like your voice is the worst voice I've ever heard, or something like
Have you
that.
heard mine? I sound
I
like
don't
so
like what's
so
hilarious
funny.
though is it really has nothing to do with me. And if I go back to that Four Agreements book that I was talking about, it comes down to beliefs and what their beliefs are and what my beliefs are. So if my belief is that I do hate my voice and then somebody comes along and says my voice is nasty, then that's reinforcing that belief. But if I'm like, you're
Yeah.
ridiculous, that's whatever, not your cup of tea, moving on, right? And that's pretty much how I treat it and I don't take it personal, then it doesn't affect me. But a lot of people can be affected by these things, especially like in childhood. Maybe your mom had a migraine. This is the example in the book. Maybe your mom had a migraine and you were just singing your little head off as a kid, 7 years old, walking around, like just singing, singing, singing. And your mom, she just, gets more and more angry. And all of a sudden she yells at you, like, will you stop singing? You don't even have a nice voice or something
You're
like that.
cooked. Yep.
And then you never want to sing again, right? Like all of
Yep.
a sudden your joy goes from absolute joy to despair to, oh my God, maybe I'm a horrible singer and maybe it makes everyone mad. And now this little girl has lost all her confidence and some until somebody comes along and tells her she has a beautiful voice, which probably won't happen because she'll probably keep it to herself, right? Um, so yeah, that all has stuff to do with it, okay? Which lends to a lack of confidence, making people uncomfortable. They don't know what to say, which is what you mentioned, right? Or they just don't have time for it. A lot of agents do not have the time for it. They don't have the ability to focus, or their environment is not set up in a way that is conducive to making calls or having fun while they're doing it. So, how can you overcome what holds you back? Well, you can set goals, like Heather was saying. This is a huge one. When I used to sell real estate coaching, every morning we would have a meeting at 7:30 a.m. and we all had to say how many appointments we were going to set that day, and like we had to report our numbers from the day before. And this held us all accountable, but also made us competitive and like in a fun way, sometimes not always fun, albeit I'll be honest about that. Some of us would be a little cutthroat. But yeah, we would say these things and then it made us want to reinforce the behaviors because we're saying, oh, I'm going to do this today. And then we wouldn't stop until we actually met those goals. So I love that where you're like, I'm going to set an appointment in the next 10 calls. Like that is awesome. And
Well, and
it's,
especially if you keep it short, it makes the time because a lot of people will dread, oh, I have to make calls for the next 2 hours. But if you break it down in those small time blocks, it's like holy crap, how is it already 11 o'clock? You know?
yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm talking about this today. We are talking about this today because I want everyone to understand that there are ways to make it more fun. Um, One of the things that you can do is visualize how good it feels when you actually have the perfect call, when you actually have somebody that wants to talk to you. I had a guy the other day tell me I called too late. Too late. I already found an agent. And I'm like, okay, sure. You just clicked it, but whatever, right? Like it's still that the point is that this guy wanted somebody to call him, I don't know, right away, like which I did, but he didn't answer. And then I called him 2 days later. So he thought I called 2 days late, right? So he had already moved on at that point. But those are the people you want to think about in a certain way when you are making calls are the people that want to talk to you and they are like, hey, I was waiting for your call. I was expecting your call. Where have you been? So visualize those people and not the nasty people. Positive self-talk. Don't, gaslight yourself or anything, but tell yourself like, you know what you're talking about. You can do this. It's not hard if you're just authentic. Set the stage. This is really important because to have fun while making calls for my team and I play music. I have, good tunes in the background that we can hear, but it's like low enough that it's not going to get into the mic while we're on a call, but you can hear it in the background so you can kind of get in the right, vibe and like enjoy it. We have a clean area where we have all the things that we need. We have a headset, we have our nice keyboard, our mic, like everything is charged, everything's ready to go. We have good lighting, we have everything that we need to succeed. So that's what I mean by set the stage. Um, you can have accountability partners, which is what Heather and I were talking about. Like basically are setting a goal for yourself and then you're putting it in a group chat and then you're saying, yeah, we're going to do this, you know. You can do role playing. Heather, do you do role playing? You do, don't you?
I do. Yep.
How do you do the role playing?
I do both. I'll be the buyer or I'll be the person, but I it's funny because when I'm role playing, I actually get really nervous. I get more nervous on role playing than I do on call
I do
because it's
too.
like there's an expectation of how this is supposed to go, and I'm always afraid I'm gonna mess it up. Versus on the calls, I'm like, I already know what I'm doing. I know this is not gonna go in any direction, and I'm in control of it. It's wild.
That is hilarious. That's a good point that you say that makes you more nervous. I feel that way too. I feel the pressure with role playing because everybody's looking like, oh, you know what to say or you know what to do or you know what you're, you know, and I am not the role playing queen. I am not that person. I am like, let's just have a conversation and see where it goes. I do have, my first line as something that I say um repeatedly, right? That became scripted because I say it so often. But I don't normally role play, although I think it is really good, and you can use ChatGPT or you can use another person, another agent or anything like that to role play, and that'll help you get more comfortable. I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with it, but if you do it more, and the more consistent you are with it, the more you will enjoy it. You got to remember your why. Why are you doing it? And you got to have fun. Okay, so that's my little presentation on that. I'll stop my share now because I want to get into the actual games that you can play. Okay, so while you're making calls, let me know, Heather, if you have done this one. Have you ever done the candy jar where every time you actually set an appointment or you have a positive outcome or anything like that, you put either money or candy or something into a jar so that you can see the win stacking up until it like gets full and then you can use it later on? Have you done
No, but that is genius. I
that?
love
It is because what it does is it like tells your psyche when you look at it that it is possible. So if you see candy in there, right, or money or whatever, I would use money, not candy, right? But some people might really like candy, who knows? But if you're on a team and you have this there, or even if you're not on a team, you can put $5 in every time you have a good call. And if it's empty, then you have to know that something good is about to come because that's just statistics, okay? Statistics say that a blind squirrel is gonna find a nut every once in a while. A broken clock is right twice a day, right? So if it is empty, just believe in the statistics that say that eventually, anytime now, you're gonna have a good call and go from there. Another thing is KPI rewards. I saw a team give out a Lexus at the end of the year to their top producing agent. This is not exactly, well, I mean, follow up is involved in being a top producing agent. So I'm using this KPI rewards as an example. But yeah, they every year at the end of the year during Christmas time, they go through and they see who had the most sales and all of that stuff. And then they gift a Lexus to person on their team that is crushing it. And I love that. I also was part of a team that to get the better leads. So we had more opportunity to set more appointments to make more commission if we were the top producers. So if we were in that top tier, then we would get the freshest leads and then we would have an easier time instead of having to, dig through all the old leads. So have you ever done anything like that,
I have not. I've never been in a position to give Alexis away, so
Heather? Well, it
like
doesn't
a
have to be
toy
a
gun.
Lexus. Okay, well, I will give another example. So when I used to sell real estate coaching, we would make these calls and then sometimes it would sometimes it would be a multi-line dialer, which I really hated and I didn't realize what it did. But basically it would ring three phones at once and whoever picked up, that is the person that it would talk to and it would hang up on the other two. So those other two would get annoyed and they would call back, right? And so the receptionist at this place that I worked to sell real estate coaching hated answering those calls because they didn't know. what to do or what to say. So I turned it into a game. And I offered a, $25 or $50 Starbucks card or something to anyone who could get a bingo. Okay. So, yes. So I have prospecting bingo. Okay. Now I have to share my screen again. So this is one of my
I
absolute
love
favorite.
that.
Yes. Prospecting bingo. Let me do it as no, not share. Click the wrong button. Done. Slideshow. So it's bigger so you guys can see it. Did I share the right screen? Can you see the bingo?
Yeah, 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 you're good.
Okay. So when I created this, it was really, really popular to hear Waiting for the Market to Crash. It was a couple of years back.
Yeah.
But that one is back. That one is back now. Now, I also have to say, someone being deceased is not something we want to celebrate. So I actually changed that person's deceased from my thing. So I took this one off and replaced it with something else. But I really like this because we always get hung up on. So if we get a point for that, then that's fun. So basically, the receptionist and the other people in the office were fighting to answer the phone after this because they wanted to get their bingo and they wanted to like, whatever it was. And so I thought that was really cool because then it got
Oh
them
my gosh,
excited.
I love this. I might have you send this to me because this is
Oh,
amazing.
I totally will. I totally will. Yeah, but if they sit there and tell your life story, oh my gosh, I had a person like this. They told me they had an agent and the agent's been their friend for 18 years. And then they proceeded to tell me everything that they want in a home and everything going on in their life and I'm just like, well, it sounds like you're in good
Cool.
hands. Like trying to
Cool.
get
There
off
you
the
go.
line. It was like 18 minutes later. Sometimes you just gotta let the person, you just gotta let it go. You just gotta let them go. Um, but I have booked appointment in the center there as our, main one. We always want that. That's always good. Agree to market updates. Oh, sometimes they're an agent. It's already on the market. It's out of your market. They hang up on you. It's a wrong number. Like if you're calling someone, it's a wrong number. You can't talk to them because there's a language barrier. That happens pretty often. And then you just get the rewards for just left voicemail or sent video text. So those are fun too. Okay, Heather, do you have any that I haven't mentioned so far that you can share?
No, I think you covered them all. I think that bingo card is genius, and I will be using that because that is awesome.
It's so fun too because I mean it really makes those mundane tasks, the things that most people don't want to do, especially if you're on a team. If you have a team of people or if you are in a brokerage where you have to prospect and a lot of brokerages do have this where you have a prospecting hour and you have to hop on and you have to all do this together, then it's really fun to help them like get excited. You get excited to get hung up on all of a sudden. It's like,
Yep.
oh yay, I
Yep.
finally got that, whatever. But
No,
other
so you're like every call is going my way. I'm not getting any bingo cards. Like there's literally no losing. Like this is great.
Exactly. Okay, another thing is psychological. Every time you set an appointment, you ring a bell. We had this as well when we sold real estate coaching. They had it on a big screen, and we had reinforced the fact that, like, anytime somebody got a closing, we would celebrate it essentially. It's called Ring the Bell, and they do this in the market, like or in Wolf of Wall Street or whatever. I don't know. It's from that whole thing, right? Like you get
Yep.
a sale and you ring the bell. But it's really about psychologically training others to see the success and to know that it's possible. So it's not about bragging or anything like that. It's really telling people, hey, look, this works and you can do it too. So Ring the Bell is another game. Um, I don't know. Okay, Heather. We used to do this game where we had to say a certain word on the next call of the person that picked up. So we call this the word game. All right. Have you ever done this?
No, but I like where it's going.
Okay. So we would all like sit there and we'd have to make our cold calls for an hour at the end of the day. And we'd be like, to make it more fun, we'd be like, you have to say whoever can say aardvark first on a call. And I was so bad at this. I'm not gonna lie. I was terrible. There was somebody in our group that was like, oh, you gotta be like an aardvark, you gotta not let things bother you and like and the market is like an aardvark where it's I don't know, I don't even know what an aardvark is, okay, but this is the kind of thing that we would do. And it was so fun because we couldn't wait for the next person to answer a call, and whoever we would all like sit there and like watch them and see if they could do if they could say
It's
it and
one
how
of
they
us.
would say
Yep.
it. Yeah, it was so fun. So we would all agree to a word, and then we'd be like, okay, whoever gets the next call has to say it on the call. And then once they got it, then we would flip and do a different word, and that is called the word game.
Oh, that is so funny.
I know I have all these really good ones. Okay, another one is accent improv. I do not recommend this.
Oh.
I don't recommend this if you are a realtor, okay? But if you are an ISA on a team and you can pass this off, it might work. But okay, I have to call Deep South, the Deep South. Okay, I call East Tennessee, and and I have to talk very slowly. And I call Georgia.
So slow.
So
Mhm.
slow. It's so hard for me, okay? It is so hard.
Uh-huh.
But they answer like, "Hi, this is Sarah." And I'm like, I'm like, "Hi, Sarah, my name is blah 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 blah." And they're like, "Oh my
And
God,
you're like,
slow down."
what?
Yeah. Yeah. So accent improv is basically kind of like the word game. It's where you choose an accent between you and your coworker or, whoever you're making calls with, and you guys stick with the accent the whole call, which nah, I cannot do. I can't. I can't.
Oh, I could definitely do a southern one because I'm originally from Kentucky. So whenever I talk to anybody from the South, it
It just
like
slips
it
out.
triggers it. Oh, it's so funny. And then my
Oh,
kids will hear me and they'll make fun of me.
I wonder how, like, I wonder if it's easy to get rid of an act. Did you have to like consciously work on
So yes, so I was actually in the fourth grade when I moved to New York, and it is not cool to have an accent in the fourth grade.
it? I
And I
bet.
remember there was this one time, her name was Libby, and I said something, I was like, wow, my lips are dry. And for whatever reason, that stuck with everybody. For like all of fourth grade, that was what everybody
Oh,
said. And that's what everybody had me say, and I was mortified.
my
Now
lips are
looking back, it
dry.
wasn't that big of a deal. But they're like,
No,
this is dry. What is dry? I'm like,
dry.
what do you mean? And then I would say can't instead of can't. Girl.
Oh, no, really? That's a thing?
They're like, what do you mean you can't? I'm like,
I
I
can't.
can't. I can't.
That is hilarious. One of my best friends was from Arkansas, and she said fire tower, which is fire tower, fire tower. I'm like, what is a
One
fire
word.
tower?
It's one word.
But I don't know, because like New Yorkers, everybody doesn't think they have an accent. I'm from Seattle. I feel like I don't have an accent, but
Actually,
but
you say accent different than I do. You say accent. There's
oh,
a
how do you
little accent. Accent.
accent, accent, accent? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well,
Actually,
see.
there's people from, I knew one guy from Washington. He used to say warsh. I'm like,
Oh, yes,
warsh
that's a
or
thing.
toilet.
Washington, or like I think it's I don't know where. I think it's like a European thing though, because like I want to say like British people will say they'll add an R into things like wash.
You're like,
Yeah, I don't know why. I really don't, but I've heard that. That's funny. Yeah. So those are the games that I have for this. Okay, so the candy jar, the KPI rewards, like giving away something at the end of a certain period of time, which most of these are just enforcing like, Pavlov's dog. You set an appointment, you get a treat. You set an appointment, you get a treat. So that's what the majority of them are. And a lot of them are way more fun with other people, but you can do it with yourself. You could be like, I'm going to be the one that says aardvark on this next call just because it's funny to me, right? So you can totally do that. Um, and I think the candy jar is the main one. And you could do prospecting bingo for yourself.
definitely could do bingo.
Yeah,
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 I would have a lot of fun with that.
yeah. Even if you're not giving something away, but I was giving something away and people loved it. And yeah, because it was just a way to make it so they stopped hating answering when those people call back. But I also stopped using a triple line dialer because I was like, it hangs up on everybody,
I
which
hate it.
is kind of smart though, because then they're calling back, but they're calling back and then they're upset usually. And they're like, what is your problem? Why would you do that? But
Mhm.
either way, it's all about how you look. It's all about your perspective. Okay. So I have a Facebook group. It's called The Future of Follow Up for Real Estate, where you can get my prospecting bingo, among other things, or you can follow me on socials. You can see how my name is spelled, Sara Delansig, on the screen, and you can find me and message me. And follow me and do all those things, then I will happily give some of the stuff away. Does anybody have any questions about any of the stuff that I talked about, or anything else, or any other fun games to play? So I'm wondering. I know there's got to be more out there. You know what I'm saying? Quickly, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. You know what I'm saying? What were you
I'm still
gonna say?
hunting on the bingo one. Oh my
Oh,
god,
really?
that's so fun.
What are some of the best games for, oops, I put fames games for follow-up. Let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. It's the Ghosted Lead Revival game. Okay. Okay, this is what it says. This is what it says. Give everyone the same scenario. The prospect went silent after a demo. So each person has 2 to 3 minutes to write. Okay, so this is a game that you write something out, I guess. Each person has 2 to 3 minutes to write a subject line, an email, or a text follow-up. Read them out loud, and then the group votes on the most compelling, the most human, and the most likely to get a reply. This taps into real life situations, which makes role playing way more effective. Okay. Follow-up hot seat, it says. I've never heard of these, by the way. I don't know. If anybody has heard of these, let me know.
Follow up hot seat.
It says how it works. One person sits in the hot seat and the team throws follow-up objections like, I'm busy, send me more info, the market is crashing, we're looking at others. And they must respond instantly. Call or text style. Give them 30 to 60 seconds per response. Basically objection handling on steroids, and it mirrors real world unpredictability. That's pretty good. Let's see. The follow-up timing game. I've never heard of this one either. How it works. Present a deal scenario. Each person maps it out. Day 1 follow-up, day 3 follow-up, day 7. I think ChatGPT is just making stuff up. I don't know what
I was just gonna say, it sounds crazy.
I know some of this sounds really crazy. 30-second follow-up pitch in an elevator. I think a lot of these might be not real estate related, and it might be sales related too. Like it's going off of that. But yeah, so that's everything that I got. All these other ones that ChatGPT, I was better than ChatGPT this time. Yay me.
You being better than a robot. I think another one, a good one would be overcoming objections. Like
Yeah.
putting down objections, like on a bingo card or even the candy thing. But like if you struggle with objection handling and feeling like you don't know what to say, like write down your most like over your
Yes.
most objections and then bingo yourself when you overcome them to show on paper like I can do this. I'm not
Yes.
like this isn't as scary as I thought it was.
That's a really good idea. As a matter of fact, you should take the objection that you run into when you run into it and then throw it in a chat GPT and say, how should I handle this objection? Or ask a trusted person, because we just thought chat GPT not come up with some very good stuff. But
I
either
love
way,
it.
it's if as long as you give it the stamp of approval, right? And then you should have it in either like an accessible like note on screen or something, but somewhere that you can easily say it. And if the more you see it, the more it'll get into your subconscious.
That
Probably
part.
be comfortable saying it.
Yeah, I love that.
I do too. Well, that is yeah, that's what I got. So follow for the bingo card, and hopefully you guys can have some fun with this. There are lots of ways to do it. I say the first thing is setting up your environment, having something comfortable and like having music on that you can vibe to, and having your space clean and ready to work and all that stuff is the first step. And then your mindset is second. And that's why the games come in handy, because it'll help you have a little bit more fun. So hopefully this has helped you with that. And where to find me to get the bingo. So I will put that in there. And until next time.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.